So boys and girls, Jacob is back. He's in Hebron, and his sons, they have lots of sheep, and they're taking care of their sheep. And in our story today, the one that Rachel has, the son that she has, is named, remember she had two sons and now she has died. We talked about that yesterday, is Joseph and Benjamin. And Joseph is 17 years old. And we'll do this in a minute. Jacob loves Joseph the most because he is the son of his old age. Do you remember how Isaac liked Esau the most and Rebekah loved Jacob the most? That was not a good thing, and now it's not a good thing either. And Jacob gives Joseph this beautiful coat. In those days, boys and girls, shepherds just kind of had this big, long material, and then inside this material was a hole, and then they put it over their head, and it was usually kind of brown, and that was their coat. But Jacob went and got Joseph a very special coat. It had many colors on it, and that kind of showed that Jacob loved Joseph the most. Could you get the door? Could you get the door for me? And the boys, the brothers, they hated him. They did not like it at all that Joseph was the favorite, that Jacob loved him the most. And one day he was out in the field with Bilhah's children, and he came back home and he told them, he said, they were not doing what was right. So they hated them even more. They did not like Joseph. They were jealous of him because Jacob loved him so much. And then one day Joseph had a dream. And he told his brothers about the dream. He said, in my dream, there were all these great big shocks of wheat like this. We were putting them together. And then my shock went right up straight. And your shocks went all around mine. And then they bowed down to mine. Ha, said the brothers. You think you're going to rule over us? You think we're going to bow down to you and you're going to be the boss? And they hated him even more. Then Joseph had another dream. And in this dream, he told his brothers and his father this dream. He said, I had another dream. I dreamt that the sun and the moon and the 11 stars were all bowing down to me. And his father said, Joseph, do you think your mother and I, all of us, are going to bow down to you? But he remembered it in his heart. God was giving Joseph these dreams, and we're going to find out in other days why he was giving these dreams. Well, one day, all of Joseph's brothers, not just one day, they had been out with their flocks, and they were taking care of their flocks, and they had been away for quite a while. Remember, there's the Great Sea, here's the Sea of Galilee, the Jordan River, the Dead Sea. So they're living around here, and the boys had gone up to Shechem. They had gone up to Shechem with their flocks, and they were gone for a while, and Jacob was thinking, I want to find out if they're okay. So he said to Joseph, your brothers are in Shechem taking care of their sheep, and I would like you to go and find out how they are doing. And Joseph said, here I am. So Joseph went on his way. Joseph went on his way, and he got to Shechem, but he looked around, and he was kind of wandering out in the fields, and he didn't see any shepherds, and he didn't see any sheep. And then a man saw him. He said, what are you looking for? He said, I'm looking for my brothers. Oh, said the man, I know. I saw them, and I heard them say, we're going to Dothan. That's where you should go. Okay, thank you, said Joseph, and he kept going further. Well, his brothers, they saw him coming. One of them said, hey, look there. I think it's our brother. See that coat with all the colors? That's Joseph. Ha! Here comes that dreamer, they said. Here he comes. Let's kill him, said one of the brothers. And then we'll be rid of him. Spoiled person. And we'll just kill him. We'll take his coat and we'll say that an animal hunted him. That's when we'll see about his dreams. But Reuben, the oldest, he said, no, let's not do that. He's our brother. Let's not kill him. Let's just throw him in this pit here. Then let's just throw him in this pit here. Let's not kill our own brother. Let's not shed blood. Because Reuben was thinking, after, when all the boys have kind of gone on their way, he was planning, I'm going to go back to the pit. I'm going to take Joseph off and out of the pit, and I'm going to send him quickly back to his father. Well, there came Joseph. Oh, brothers! Ha! They said, and they grabbed him, and they took off his coat, and they said, here you go, you dreamer! And they pushed him into the pit. And there was Joseph in that pit. It was a dry pit. There wasn't water in it. But he was, come on, let me out, he probably said. We don't know, but the Bible does say that his soul was in anguish. Well, a little while later, he was just sitting there. Some of the brothers were sitting around. Some of them were out in the fields taking care of the sheep. And the others were eating their lunch. And then far off in the distance, they saw a whole big train of camels coming. It was Ishmaelites who would come from Gilead, from here, and they were going down to Egypt with myrrh and spices. They were going to sell them. And then Judah said, hey, you know what? We shouldn't really kill our brother or just leave him here. I have an idea. Let's take him out and let's sell him. We can earn some money from him. And then we'll be rid of him, but we won't kill him. And we'll send him to these Ishmaelites. So they said, whoa, to this train. We said, we have a good slave for you. Do you want to buy him? And then they pulled Joseph out. Joseph said, don't do it. Please, let me go. But they didn't. They said, no. And they brought him to those Ishmaelites, and they sold him for 20 shekels of silver. And there was Joseph. They probably tied him up. We don't know, but he had to go along with this big train. And he had to go all the way down to Egypt. Well, a little while later, Reuben came back. Reuben thought, I'm going to go get Joseph out of this pit and send him to his father. So he went to the pit. He said, where's Joseph? Oh, we sold him. We sold him to the Ishmaelite train. We got 20 shekels of silver. See, we didn't kill him. Oh, said Reuben, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? He tore his clothes. And then they said, well, we better pretend. They still had his coat. They hadn't given him his coat along. They said, so they killed one of the little kids of the flock. They killed that little goat, and then the blood was all oozing out of that goat. And then they took the coat and they poured all the blood on it. And then when they went back to their father, they said, we found this coat out in the field. Is this Joseph's coat? Oh, said Jacob, a wild animal has eaten him. It is his coat. Oh, my son Joseph is dead. And he was so sad. He tore his clothes. He put sackcloth on. And he mourned for many, many days. He was just crying and crying because he was so much loved Joseph. And all his sons came to him and his daughters and said, oh, stop. It'll be okay, Father. He said, no, I'm going to go down to my grave crying. And in the meantime, Joseph had gone down with all these camels. He went to a slave market probably. And the person who bought him in those days, I don't know how they did it, but they probably said, look, let's see, that one looks strong. And then they paid for them. They were like property. And now he became a slave. And the person who bought him, his name was Potiphar. And he was a servant of the big king of Egypt. The king of Egypt was called a Pharaoh. And that's who Potiphar worked for. And now Joseph is working for Potiphar. And that is the end of that story.